All right, guys, we have a new bow in the family. PSE Mach 34. I actually set this up a little while back with some old accessories. Just haven't brought it out, put it on video yet. But quick first impressions. I bought this thing because I love the specs. It's 34-inch axle to axle, 7¼ inch brace height, 330 feet per second. So for a hunting bow that's going to be accurate, those are perfect specs. I set it up with 8-inch bars earlier in an old CB sight I had. Today, these stabilizers came in. I put them on. This is AAE Mountain Series stabilizers and a Black Gold Pro sight 5-pin. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I love to shoot a 5-pin for hunting, but I like the slider just in case I want to target shoot and take that out to a further range. Rest is a Hamskea drop away that I picked up off a marketplace, just so happened to match this riser. Again, first impressions. I love the look of the bow. In person, I like this riser a lot more than I thought I would. Pictures on the internet, I thought it'd be kind of ugly. And maybe it looks ugly here, but holding onto the bow, I like it a lot. The weight of the bow, it's very light. Now, I've put a decent amount of weight on these bars, but I've got a 12-inch on the front, a 10-inch on the back, and all the weight is off the riser. So that, with a really light riser, means this thing is balanced extremely well. Setup was real quick and easy. I basically put the bow in the press, put a peep sight in it, ran the nocking point just dead center through. There's no burger button in this carbon bow, but right in the top of this F is about where that burger button would run. I just kind of lined it up with the other side and just ran it there by eyeball, ran the rest by eyeball, and I was getting a slight right tear. Now, this has the Easy 220 snap system, and I will say I didn't have the shims when I was setting this bow up. So I pulled the shims and swapped them without the tool, and it worked out just fine. I do have a little bit of a right tear still, but the bow's shooting okay. I have the shims now. I'll mess with that later, but I love how it shoots. I love how it feels. I love how it balances. It's just a really nice setup, and I'm gonna take it, attempt to shoot a 300 with it. We'll see what we score on a Vegas face, because what's most important to me is accuracy. And we're gonna find out just how accurate it is, even knowing it's running a little bit of a right tear. All right, guys, we got a Vegas face up here. It's not gonna be a clean face to start with tonight because I did a little sighting in on here. This is about as good of an accuracy test as I know how to do with the Mach 34. All right, guys, so the accuracy portion of the test is pretty good. You know, I sighted it in on the Vegas face here, and still, you know, shooting my 30 arrows, you can see I was still hitting left, so it wasn't fully set in. But shooting in the 290s, 16Xs, that's more than acceptable for a bow that's just getting set up. All right, guys, real quick, I'm gonna answer some questions I've seen about the Mach 34 online. I have a little bit of experience with the bow, and hopefully I can, shine some light on that. But one of them I see is, can you shoot this bow for paper or 3D? Or is it strictly more set up for hunting? You know, I mentioned the specs at the beginning of the video. That's why I wanted it as a hunting bow. I value accuracy, and that's kind of why I wanted to shoot that 300. Shot in the 290s with it. You could definitely set that up, get familiar with the bow, and shoot your 300. I feel confident you could do that if you wanted to. 3D, absolutely. You get the speed that you need for 3D as well if you got a shorter draw length. And so there's no doubt the bow is going to be more than accurate enough for those two things. Another question I see, the EC2 versus the E2 is a common question. I haven't shot the E2, but I chose the EC2 after talking to a bunch of guys who do have a bunch of experience with these PSEs. And they said that it's just a lot more smooth, a little bit more forgiving, and you get a little bit more speed out of the E2, but it's just really not necessary as fast as the EC2 is. But from what I hear from the PSE crowd, EC2 all the way. Okay, then another big question, the main selling point of this bow, big PSE tuning, marketing campaign, is the shim kit, the EZ220. I have not used their kit yet for this bow. When I set it up, I moved the shims from one side to the other because I had a pretty good right tear. I did that with an Allen wrench in the bow press. Not recommended, obviously. PSE probably would frown upon that, but it worked. It moved the cam enough to get rid of about half of that tear. Just shooting today, I'm still shooting a right tear, but I do have the shims now, and I will get the tool out, and I can tell you the tool It's going to fit perfect, pull those shims way easier. I really like how easy it is to move the shims. I like the sizes they send you in the kit. It's going to be really easy to make happen. The only downside is you have to buy the kit and the tool if you want to make it happen. And whereas Bowtech, it's all built into the bow. Elite, you know, they've got the set technology, you can lean the limbs. PSE, it's not hard to do, but it is an extra accessory that you have to buy and have. So you could consider that. The only other thing I have to mention on the EZ220 is there was a little bit of a rattle for me in those shims. I just bumped the riser on a bow to listen to it, and one of the shims had a little rattle in it. It was loose enough to move, not loose enough to fall out, at least right now. I don't know if that'd ever be a problem down the road, but when I swapped them from side to side, that rattle went away, and you know, I'm more than confident that the shims are going to stay in the bow and that that's not going to be a problem, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning. So that's really all I have, guys. If there's more questions about this bow, let me know. I'll try to address them. Like I said, I know this thing's across the internet now. There's a lot of really, really good reviews I've seen on it. This is more so just another opinion on the bow, another first impression, a little accuracy test, and it will continue to be used and hunted with. And as I move down that road, I'll show it to y'all. Thanks.